News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users. And News Talk Online is also syndicated now by CRN Digital Talk Radio, www.crntalk.com, to cable networks serving an additional 12 million households. I'm your host, Gary Baumgarten. Well, today we have two segments of the show. In the second segment of the program, we're going to be talking to an imam and a rabbi who are participating in a summit of understanding here in New York City between the Jewish and Muslim communities of the United States. Should be a very interesting discussion. But first, this is one that touches all of us, whether we have a cellular phone or not, whether we are drivers or not, because traffic safety affects us either as pedestrians or as passengers in vehicles or as drivers. My guest today, Mat MacAdams, and his wife were driving home one day from visiting a friend in the hospital when they witnessed a horrific traffic accident. A truck collided with a car, killing the passenger in the car and injuring both drivers. And one of the drivers was distracted by a cell phone, causing that fatal accident. That experience prompted Mat MacAdams to create a site called, and you want to make a note of this, www.freeheadset.org. That's right, freeheadset.org. You can log on to Matt's site, and for the cost of shipping and handling, he will send you a headset that is compatible with your cellular phone. And actually, we wanted him on now because there's a backlog of orders for these free headsets, and I can't think of a greater stocking stuffer for those of you who celebrate Christmas, for those of you who celebrate Hanukkah as one of the 8 gifts that you give, for those of you who celebrate Kwanzaa, or even if you don't celebrate any of the above, to give to somebody a hands-free headset so that if they are going to talk and drive, they could do so not distracted by playing with the telephone. So I want to welcome Mat MacAdams to News Talk Online on paltalk.com. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Good morning. Or afternoon.
Well, you want a headset because you're a little weak. I can hardly hear you here, but we got you, so let's muddle through this.
Yeah, no, my landline service is a little affected by the recent fires.
The fires in California, sure. We hear you loud and clear now. Well, there are a lot of states in the United States who do have some kind of regulation when it comes to cellular phone use. There are actually some, I don't know, a bunch of countries, I have a list of them, who ban cellular phone use while driving as well. You've come up with a plan to help people to not be distracted while they drive. Tell me how long this program has been in effect and what the response has been.
Well, we started it back in 2003, and it's just been an overwhelming response. The media has played a really important part in spreading the word about our program. To date, we've given away at least 160,000 headsets. I'm sure it's probably 180,000. We lost count, but that's been it's been an overwhelming response ever since it was introduced. Yeah.
I have, and I'm very pleased to welcome to News Talk Online on paltalk.com, Imam Shamsi Ali and Rabbi Mark Schneer. They are involved in a summit of understanding, sponsored by the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding. That's Russell Simmons' group. Russell Simmons, the chairman, Mark Schneer, the rabbi, the president of that organization, where rabbis and imams from all around the country are gathering to talk about common interests, common goals, communication between the Muslim and the Jewish community, so that the stereotypical description of how Muslims and Jews cannot get along can actually be dispelled, so that we find common ground, so that we do not have problems here in the United States Welcome, Imam Ali and Rabbi Schneer, to News Talk Online on paltalk.com.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. By the way, the name is Schneier.
Schneier. Thank you for correcting me.
Correct.
So Rabbi Schneier, let me start with you and talk about exactly, since you're the president of the organization, how this came about, this summit that will be held in a couple of days here in New York City.
Well, the summit is really a result of a process that I went through last year with Imam Omar Namos, who is the Grand Cleric at the mosque on East 96th Street. I serve in a number of capacities in the Jewish community. I'm also the rabbi of the New York Synagogue on the 8th off Park Avenue. And it was 1 year ago, this week, that I had extended an invitation to the Imam to come address my congregation. It was the first time he had ever been to an Orthodox synagogue. And then 2 months later, on Martin Luther King Day, the Imam had invited myself and my congregation to come to the mosque, where I spoke. I was the first rabbi to ever speak in the Grand Mosque. And it was quite a significant day. In fact, Martin Luther King III actually flew up from Atlanta to extend inaugural greetings at the conference. And needless to say, this began the foundation for what has been a very frank, a very open, a very honest relationship between the Imam and myself. And it reached a point about half a year ago where we wanted to share our experience with imams and rabbis across the United States. So we're very honored on Wednesday, Imam Namos and I, to host 12 of the leading imams, 12 of the leading rabbis from cities such as Los Angeles, Chicago, Baltimore, Detroit, Dallas, Boston, for what is the first national summit of imams and rabbis, and to spend the day exploring commonalities and looking at differences and recognizing the strength that comes from sharing our similarities and differences.
So it's good to talk about positive things that are going on with regard to this, because if it's negative, it's going to make the headlines, and the positive stuff, unfortunately, is often under the radar of the news media. And I want to ask Imam Ali what your religion, and welcome to the show, says about ecumenical outreach such as this, because I think that there is a feeling among many people that the Islamic faith does not allow for exactly what you're doing here in New York City in 2 days.
I think this is one of the point of the ignorance that many people have in mind, because from theological or historical perspective, we've found grounds of engagements between the interfaith, between the religions, people of all religions. The Holy Quran itself